Hey there my lovelies, and welcome to my booktube channel, The Sassy Library Fox. My name is V, and today I have a bad hair day. Okay, I'm sorry, my hair is sticking up over here. I will go to the hairdresser tomorrow, so hopefully my hair will look better afterwards. Anyway, what I actually wanted to say, before my hair distracted me, was that today I'm going to talk about rather unknown authors. I don't know about you, but when I really started to get into writing reviews and began to have an audience on Goodreads, a lot of authors wrote me messages and asked if I wanted to read their book. They went from just review copies of their books they wrote a couple of years ago to actual arcs that would be released in the future. So for me, at first, this was really quite something because I wasn't used to getting books for free, aside from the library, of course. And especially that authors would write me if I would like to read their books. So that was something new. And well, I've been writing reviews for 4 years already, and it's been a fun ride so far. And of course, authors still come to me and ask me if I want to read their books. And most of the time I say yes, but at the moment I actually put a stop to it because there are just too many books and I can't keep up with my normal reading, library reading, and author reading. So I'm currently not accepting a lot of books. They really have to hook me. And I actually didn't accept a book ever since December last year, I think. So anyway, regardless of that, a lot of those authors are not all that well known, and they sent me their books and I really loved some of them. I ended up getting so attached to the characters and their great writing style. So I decided to give room to authors that aren't that well known and that should be well known because their writing is great and their stories are great. Okay, so here goes nothing. Let's jump right into it. The first book and author that is still pretty unknown is V-Games by Peckham. And Caroline was actually one of the first authors that wrote me a message and asked if I'd like to read her book. And the premise of the book got me really curious because V-Games is about vampires that are eliminating people, or rather to say that are eliminating female prisoners on a deserted island in the north. So to read this was pretty interesting because it's some sort of mixture of, how to put it, the Hunger Games, only with female prisoners and vampires in the mix. And the last one who survives is allowed to go back home without any charges from the prison. And of course, this is all illegal because the people who make those vampire V-Games pick the prisoners from the prison and make it seem like they died there. So the one who survives the V-Games actually gets a new life, or at least they promise that they will. And I really liked that book. It was pretty brutal at times, but it was super interesting to see some sort of Hunger Games against vampires. And Selena, the protagonist of this book, is just great. She is so kick-ass. And basically all the girls in this book are great and interesting characters. Of course, not all of them will survive. I won't spoil anything here, but Karen Peckham is definitely an author you should check out. She writes pretty interesting books. The second author I want to talk about is Melika Dannese, and she wrote a book named Deadmarsh Fate. And if you know me, you know I'm game for everything that has fairies in it. So I couldn't turn down that offer and had to accept it. And it was just great. It's a really, really slow book, and there is a lot of information that's dumped on you at the beginning. And I think that's necessary though, because with all of this information you get, the plot thickens and starts to run along. And I personally loved that Deadmarsh Fae had so many roots in original fairy stories. And it's kind of middle grade-ish, but it was definitely creepy. And if I would have to describe the genre, I would actually put it in fantasy, horror, and fairies. So that book might be very slow, but if you love the old myths and legend about fairies, and if you don't mind characters that are in the age of middle grade, then you will most definitely enjoy this one. And I personally was such a great, huge fan of Carver. Carver is just great. Carver is chef's kiss. An evil fiend you just gotta love. So yes, Melika's book was great, and I'm definitely looking forward to read her other books. She also has Concorritura, I think it's named, which is a book about vampires. So I'm very curious about that one, and I'm definitely going to read it sometime soon. I don't know when yet, but I want to read it badly. The next author is Danielle Laurie. She writes in the genre of romance and fantasy, and the first book I read from her was A Girl Named Calamity, and it was in the direction of fantasy, a little bit dark, and I really enjoyed that one, but I had a couple of issues, and I wrote a review about it, and it was just 3 stars on Goodreads or 3 paws on my blog. I rate my my books with paws on my WordPress page and WordPress blog. And the most interesting thing happened with Laurie, because I was worried she wouldn't like my review and that she would be offended by my 3-star rating. I mean, I don't give them away lightly, but when I have some issues with a book, I always give 3 stars, and when there are so many issues, I can't ignore them anymore. It are 2, and if there are a bunch of issues and the entire book is full of them, it just gets 1. So it's basically my rating. Broken down to the basics. And the funny thing with Laurie was she really took my feedback to heart, wrote a second book in that series, and the second book was great. And I know that it was great because she offered me to read it once again. And all I could say, girl, you did your homework. This was excellent. I'm not talking about A Girl Named Calamity here though. What I want to talk about is the Sweetest Oblivion, which is some sort of mafia romance. And it's pretty dark, and it's also in the genre of contemporary. And I really liked that one. I enjoyed it very much. And it really had this mafia vibe going on, and the sexy mafia boss vibe, if you know what I mean. So Well, if you like mafia stories and romances that are a little bit steamy, I can definitely recommend Danielle's books. The next book I'm going to talk about is an entirely different genre. It's Bond Boy by Jay Grewal. I hope I pronounced it right. It's a very serious book, and it's about a military soldier that is stationed in Iraq, and you might say it's a war book, fictional contemporary kind of thing. And the topic it tackles was pretty rough and heavy, because the soldier gets to know a little boy whose family got killed and sees all the kids in the orphanage, and he starts some sort of friendship, relationship, father-son kind of thing with the boy in the orphanage. He's kind of indirectly responsible for the death of the boy's parents and family, and it was just heartbreaking to see those two becoming friends and fighting through the loss and grief. And the ending, quite honestly, the ending destroyed me. I'm still, oh gosh, I just have to think about it and I'm all in tears once again. It's an important book. It's a very, very emotional book. For me, it was emotional. It made me emotional. And I think it should be read. And well, Jay Grewal's books should be read. They definitely should be read. And the last author I'm going to introduce here and I'm going to talk about here is Kevin A. Kuhn and his books 10 Tales of Dark Tomorrow, which is in the genre of short stories. It are 10 short stories, as the title already says, and they are all kind of science fiction-y, but also with a little dash of horror. And I really enjoyed to read those 10 short stories. Every time I commuted back from work, I would pick up his book and read another one of those short stories. And yes, my way to work is pretty long, so I had enough time to read them. And they were really good. Some of them had me thinking so hard afterwards, and some of them totally knocked me in the feels. And others just had me gasping and left me like, oh my god. Yeah, and quite honestly, about some of them I don't ever want to think about again, because they were just creepy. So those 10 tales were really, really great as well, and I can really recommend to read Kevin Kuhn's books. And I think I could have introduced about a gazillion of other authors that aren't that well known among the bookish community and that wrote so many great books. But for now, I will leave it here. And if you want to see more videos like this one, and if you want to get introduced to other great authors I discovered over the years, which aren't all that well known and don't get all the attention they deserve, then just write it down in the comments below and I will make sure to provide you with new authors you've probably never heard about. They are still great, they need all the attention they can get, they deserve all the attention they can get, and I will never get tired of advocating for those authors. So this said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked that excursion into other genres and not all too well known authors. And well, that's it. I'm already at the ending of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're taking care. Please stay healthy and safe. I know cases are rising once again and the numbers are hitting a high in every country. So please, please take care. And you get a finger heart from me. And that's it. See you around the next time. Bye!